Welcome and thank you for joining us on ScotiaLive. My name is Tracy Cowan Richardson and I'm the Senior Manager for Premium Banking, Caribbean North and Central. Our topic today is moving on up from rent to mortgage, or in my situation, moving out of the family home into your own home. Our experts today with us is Christopher Samuels, the Branch Manager from Scotia Centre Branch, and Kim Marie McCullough-Shaw, Sales Associate from Coldwell Banker Jamaica Realty, who will give us some tips and tricks when you're house hunting. Buying a property is a huge investment, whether you're buying an apartment, a townhouse, or a new home. And we are here to give you some great insights as to what you need to know throughout the entire journey, from start, in the middle, to actually acquiring your key. So Chris, let me hand over to you.
Thanks, Tracy. It's absolutely a great opportunity for me to be here to speak about what is very, very important to a lot of our customers, achieving that financial asset, making that major decision. So Kim is here.
Hey, Chris.
Happy to have you also, Kim. We want to talk about it, so let's get right into it. What are the benefits of acquiring a home? Acquiring a home speaks to achieving an asset. It's wealth creation. It's a significant milestone that we all dream and live and think about. It's that place that you call home. And it is even more special when it's your very first home. That first purchase is always that more sweeter and that more special. And so it is important that we talk about it. It's important that we help our customers to make this major decision. Before you get to a mortgage, there are certain things that you should be talking about, certain decisions that you should be making with that important person or those important persons within your life. The question is, what can I afford? Who's my best financial partner to make this decision with? What or how much do I save for down payment and closing costs? These are key questions that you need to be answering if it is that you're really serious about purchasing a home. I always say to my customers, be realistic in your expectation. What is it that I can afford? Most times, the place that you purchase the very first time is not your dream home, it's not your dream location, but it's a place that you have to start.
It's a start.
Your grandma would say start somewhere.
Yes.
And so this is what the conversation is about. It's important that once you want to make that very first move, you start by assessing your debts. How am I going to afford this liability, this payment that I'm taking on in the form of a mortgage, in addition to the things that I have been doing before? Because you have been living your life, and so you're taking on additional things. So you have to stop doing some things to start doing something, and this is what the conversation is about. Having good credit is absolutely important.
Yes.
And in an era where credit bureau reporting in Jamaica has become so critical, it is important that my customers understand the importance of making sure that your credit history is important. How do you make sure it is important? Servicing your debt monthly, especially during this pandemic as we speak now. Servicing of debt is absolutely critical. Persons tend to shy away from credit cards.
Okay.
I don't want to incur a debt that I don't want to have. What does a credit card do? Credit card creates credit history. It gives the lender the opportunity to see your behavior and then make an educated decision about credit history or credit worthiness. We say to our customers too, limit yourselves to 1 or 2 credit cards, perhaps 2, one for that emergency, unexpected expenses, and another for everyday expenditure. Make sure that you manage your credit card acquisitions in this regard. This is the aspect of saving for a down payment is sometimes a tricky conversation with our customers, Tracy and Kim. And why is this so? Customers tend to come to the bank ready to purchase a home and they are not even aware that they need to have a down payment.
Yeah, that is true.
And the down payment is not necessarily the 5% that the bank is saying that we can afford. We can afford you 95% financing.
Right.
The vendor dictates from time to time they need 5, 10, 15, 20% down payment because it's now a mortgage market where lots of persons are house hunting. And so you need to have your down payment. You need to be saving towards your down payment. And I'm going to interject right now to say, within and throughout Scotiabank, we have personal banking officers who sits and engage our customers to say, hey, this is what a saving plan should look like to achieve this amount of money to assist with your down payment and also with your closing costs. And closing costs are unexpected expenses. Persons tend to not know that there are expenses additionally than your down payment. And we're going to talk about that as we go along, but it is absolutely important. Once you have saved your down payment, you're ready to go in the sense that you need to have a discussion with your banker, your trusted financial partner at this point in time. And so it's time to come into Scotiabank to speak with a personal banking officer or a premium relationship officer, yes, as to how do I know what I can afford. We give you a pre-qualification letter. We do an assessment of your current financial position. And at this point in time, we do a credit check, look at your credit worthiness, we look at your income, and we say to our customers,
Okay.
this is what you can afford. Go house hunting. How is a pre-approval calculated? We look at your income, we look at your debt, and we make the assessment, and then we say, okay, Tracy, based on what we're seeing, you're eligible to go look for a property, a new property, for $20 million. Wow. And once there's nothing, no unexpected surprises, then within Scotiabank, we're saying, you're ready, this house will be yours. Right? So it's a part of the process within 3 days. Within an hour, rather. Within an hour, half an hour, even if you're an existing customer, you can walk out with your pre-qualification letter from Scotiabank. And Kim will tell you, she will not engage a customer right now to go view a property unless you have your pre-qualification letter. Isn't that a fact, Kim?
That's very important. And I'll just interject. Pre-qualification letter, I alluded to a budget or shopping. So you would not go shopping unless you know how much to spend. So your pre-approval letter tells you how much you have to spend.
Yes.
So I need to know what price range I'm looking for on your behalf. So that's very, very, very important.
Absolutely. And Kim will not leave her office to come and show your property without knowing that you can afford this particular property.
Well, you know, Chris, it's not just for me, but for them as well.
Yes.
Because you don't want all this. All right, let's say I took you out to look at a property.
Yes.
You fall in love with it. You want this property.
Correct.
And then upon getting pre-approved, you realize that you cannot afford it. Then you're heartbroken. We don't want to have to be doing counseling as well as house hunting, you know, this sad love story. So it's best to just know how much you have to spend, as well as you could go for your pre-approval letter, and it turns out that you can afford more than you thought you could,
yes,
based on what you earn. So it
yes,
can swing either way.
Yes. And I will say to you, the purchase of a home, especially the first one, is an emotional experience. And so you want to simplify this as best as we can.
Right.
We do not want a person to build your hopes up to say, I'm going to get this property, and then you can't.
Exactly.
And so the pre-qualification letter is absolutely important. And the key to note with the pre-qualification letter is not because your bank has said, or your bank has said to you, you're pre-qualified, Tracy, for $50 million, meaning that you should be go looking for a property for $50 million. It has given you an idea as to what the property, what you can afford. But within your budget, within your comfort zone, you should now be deciding on a property of a value that you're comfortable. But we're saying to you, this is what you can afford.
Thank you, Chris. So we have questions coming in on Zoom and IG. And our first question is, do I have to go to NHT to get the NHT portion separate from the portion that I want from the bank?
It's a great question, and one that I'm excited to answer, because within Scotiabank, we offer joint finance mortgages. And what is this? Once you provide us with your NHT contribution letter, we at Scotiabank will go to NHT and get from NHT what you're qualified for and the interest rate, and you're at no disadvantage. The very same interest rate that NHT affords you, you'll get it at Scotiabank, and the amount of money that you're qualified for. And so it's a one-stop shop that we offer at Scotiabank.
And you pay just one mortgage.
So you'll have your NHT mortgage separate, and you have your Scotiabank portion. So just to make sure that you get your 5 or your 3 or your 4%,
Right.
and you get your 6.99% separate from Scotiabank. We build them separately, but it's through Scotiabank.
Thank you, Chris. So we have Katie and Johnson from Zoom. What documents do I need to bring in to apply for a mortgage?
Wow, this is great. Sounds like Kadian wants to come and see us. Once you are ready to apply for a mortgage, it means that you'd have already seen the property. And there are one of 3 things that you would need to have. 1, a signed sales agreement, a draft, or an offer to purchase. If you have either of the 3 things, then you're on your way. One of these plus your income, confirmation of identity, address, we're good to go. You're ready to make your application for a mortgage. And I will let you know, and I've always said to my customers, if you're not sure about your property, don't come to Scotiabank, because we'll get you within that house. We'll get you an approval within 3 to 5 days. And after that conditional approval, then it is time to do the necessary to tie up the sale.
Wow. Thank you, Chris. We have Monique Robertson who emailed us. She said, does Scotiabank offer 100% financing in owning a home from NHT or open market? If yes, what are the requirements?
I want to thank Monique for this question. I love it. We offer 95% maximum, inclusive of the joint finance with NHT.
Okay.
So you can get your benefit with NHT, with Scotiabank, up to 95%. We're aware that there are a few persons, a few institutions would offer 100%. What we say to our customers, once you have an injection of capital in this process, you reduce your obligation. And so we encourage our customers to have a down payment, and this reduces what you must service on a monthly basis. So 95% is the maximum that we'll offer on our mortgage product.
Wonderful. As a self-employed person, where do I start exactly and what do I need?
It's always interesting when self-employed customers say to me, they stop me on the road to say, you talk a nice talk, but we can't get through with Scotiabank. What I say to our customers, self-employed customers, is proper bookkeeping is important.
Okay.
It doesn't matter which bank you keep your books, but make sure that you keep proper books. So you need to maintain a business account, and you need to do your financials on a regular basis, annually. Now, if it is that you need assistance throughout the process prior to applying for a mortgage, at Scotiabank, we're ready to assist you, because we're saying these activities shouldn't be specific to a mortgage. It should be the management of your business. How do you manage your business? How do you know you're making monies? How do you know you're able to take on this debt? So we're saying to our customers, our business banking officers will assist you if you're not an existing customer. If you're an existing customer, or if you're managing your books, financial report will be important, and your last 6 months bank statement are all you need to confirm the assessment, your affordability. And once you give us those information, just like a salaried individual, you'll be ready to apply for your mortgage.
Wow. Thank you, Chris. We have Camille A. What is the debt to income ratio and how does it affect my eligibility for a mortgage?
Wow. Camille, thanks for the question. Sounds like Camille is a banker. Maximum 50% we offer. We call that debt servicing ratio. So not more than 50% of what you earn should go towards servicing debt. So all of your liabilities are calculated, inclusive of this proposed facility, and once it falls within 50%, then you're good. So up to 50% you can use to service your debt. So thanks for that question.
One more question, Chris. I don't have a deposit and I'm a single mother. How can I own a home?
Love this question. And this puts our personal banking officers to work. Because, as I said, they are not loans officers, they are personal banking officers.
Premium.
And premium relationship officers.
Yes.
They will sit with all the customers and work out a saving plan. Put them on a path to achieving and acquiring their home. So don't wait until the opportune time to apply for a mortgage, come into Scotiabank, any of our branches, or you can contact us through any of the digital channels, and we'll be more than happy to assist you to prepare for this major purchase that you want to make.
Chris, do we consolidate mortgages?
We do consolidate, we restructure, and we have seen a lot of those requests during the current pandemic. And I'm happy to say that Scotiabank has been active in the market, making sure that our customers are preserving their credit history, preserving their assets. And so, yes, if our customers are having difficulty, or if it is that you just want to be proactive in making sure that you are comfortable in servicing your debt, yes, we consolidate and we refinance debts just to make sure you're in that position.
All right. Annette from Zoom is asking, does the mortgage monthly payment include property tax and homeowners insurance?
No, we don't include insurance and property tax. What we say is that our savings plan, we can set up independent arrangements to service these obligations that are a must once you own a property. But in terms of your specific mortgage payment, just to ensure that affordability is separate and you understand they're kept separately, but we do offer the service to assist you with these.
Candle Lover 2 from IG is asking, how can I improve my chances of getting a mortgage from Scotiabank?
Well, I would love to tell Candy Lover that the first thing to improve her chances would be to make sure she's a Scotiabanker. And if she isn't a Scotiabanker at this point in time, she should come on down to Scotiabank Center, where we'll be happy to onboard her to be one of our customers. Separate and apart from that, making sure that you're maintaining excellent credit history. If you have a debt now, irrespective of the location, especially during this pandemic, servicing your debt is absolutely key. Do not take on debts that you don't have to. In this current situation and current time, only need debts that you should be taking on, you should be taking on. And so I say to my customer, make sure that debts that you take on at this point in time are debts that you must and they are unavoidable.
Thank you, Chris. We have our last question from Grayson H. via Zoom. What is the average percentage required for a down payment?
This is a wide question, and I appreciate the question too, because I touched on it earlier, and Kim will back me up with this. The vendors primarily determine the deposit that they need. And so 5, 10, 15, 25%. I've seen sales agreements where vendors are asking for 30%, and it is always dependent on the location and the value of the property. Once there are different persons who want this property, the vendor exercise their right to request a higher down payment just to make sure that the sale is guaranteed. So it's difficult to say what it is, but average 5 to 10% is the market, is a standard market, but persons will ask for more dependent on the property they are selling. What are you seeing, Kim?
Yes, I say generally it's 10%.
Right.
So usually if they're, let's say they have more that they want to put up to the 30%,
Yes.
it would be a 10% deposit, and then the additional will go towards the rest of the property value. Good. But yes, you are right. There are persons who may ask for more, but then that's why it's important to have a good attorney as well who will back you, be on your team to say. And I think Tracy is going to highlight the importance of the other persons involved in the process, but a good attorney will go through your sales agreement and will guide you as well. So generally 10% plus the closing costs.
Wonderful.
So Kim, thank you for that. We're just going to now actually get the tips and tricks before we just said, okay, fine, here's my key to my house.
Oh, yeah.
So I hand over to you, Kim.
Thanks, Tracy. Thanks, Chris. Those are excellent answers to those questions. All right, so before we get into the tips and tricks, I just want to highlight why you should use a realtor, right? We are professionals in the industry. We know the market. Jamaicans, maybe Caribbean people, maybe everybody, we have this thing where we feel as if we can do it all. You can identify, you feel as if you can do it all, but it doesn't mean that you have to. Maybe you're strong enough to hit on a wall if you're gonna renovate, but it doesn't mean that you have to. It's the same thing with house hunting. You can do it, but you do not have to, especially given the fact that using a realtor to help you to purchase a home is a free service. Yes, I said it, it's free. Free, everybody loves that word, free. So once you are trying to get the property, it's a free service to use a realtor, so why wouldn't you?
Right.
Also, I'll give the analogy of using a gleaner. So most persons, when you're looking through the papers, or when you're looking for a property, maybe when you were looking for yours as well, Tracy, you'd look through the gleaner every Sunday.
Yes.
So the gleaner prints once a week on a Sunday.
Yes.
That's 4 times for the month. And many of you out there may have had this experience. You're looking through the gleaner, you highlight and you circle because you go out 1 o'clock in the morning, well, not since the pandemic, pre-pandemic, you get the gleaner early or you subscribe online and you circle early and 8 o'clock you're making calls. And then you hear, we're sorry, property's already gone.
Yes.
And you're saying, how is this happening? So I'll break it down a little bit. Let's say a realtor gets a listing on a Monday. When the listing comes out, it hits all the websites for all the brokerages. And then once it hits the websites, all the realtors have access to that listing. So once I see a property pop up, I'm gonna immediately send it to all my clients who I know can afford that property.
Okay.
So let's say it comes up Monday morning, by Monday evening I've set an appointment to view the property. Tuesday, Wednesday, offers are coming in. By weekend, the owner has accepted an offer and they're on the way now to signing a sales agreement. So on Sunday when it's printed in the paper, you're already way, way behind the process. So use a realtor. The realtor has ready access to all the properties once it hits the market. So you are at an advantage because you will also get that property before it hits the gleaner. Also, a realtor is able to assist you with your negotiations. So, and a realtor will let you know if a property is over market price, if it's a good deal, if it's a steal, and they will give you tips to, okay, you know, guide you along the way of making your offer and things that need to be done to the property as well. Let's say you're successful in your bid. So now to the meat of it, into the tips and the tricks. So first of all, before we get to the pre-approval, my first tip is to save. Save, 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 save. You cannot save too much. So yes, you need 10% or more for your deposit. There's also your closing costs. And you may, 99% of the time, want to do some type of renovation to the property. If it's something as simple as painting or anything else, you will want to do that. So save, just keep saving. Yes. And let's say now you realize you have a substantial amount that you think is a good deposit, then you go and you get your pre-approval letter. As I said before, if you had joined earlier, but I'll just say quickly again for those who joined late, I liken a pre-approval letter to shopping around. So you need to know how much you have to spend before you can actually go shopping.
Absolutely.
And when you're looking for a house, it's a shopping experience. Some people love to shop, some people don't.
An expensive one.
It's an expensive not process. You're buying something that's very expensive.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're not going to the supermarket or the corner shop.
Right.
It's a very expensive investment. And so you need to know what your budget is before you go shopping.
Yes.
Right? So the pre-approval letter, second. So once you have your savings, get your pre-approval letter. And then you need to let your realtor know what you want. But before you tell your realtor what you want, you need to know what you want. So have an idea, whether it's location, type of property. Do you want an apartment? Do you want a house? Do you need yard space? Do you prefer a townhouse? Do you want to live by yourself on 50 acres of land with no neighbors? Do you want to live in a gated community?
Yeah.
Have an idea of what you want.
Well, you know what
to
this
start
does,
somewhere.
Tracy? Kim, it allows the customer to not have buyer's remorse.
Right, exactly.
Buyer's remorse, you're sorry, Tracy, that you bought this property. And so, you know, you have it now, you own it, and you're changing your mind.
And you can't sell it tomorrow. It's
I
yours.
wanted a townhouse, but you bought an apartment.
Yeah.
I wanted a house, but I bought a townhouse.
Yes.
Right.
It prevents it. So that's great.
Yeah, and then a realtor will also ask you certain key questions to kind of open up how you're thinking.
Yeah.
So I can give you a quick scenario. I've had persons who have come to me, let's say the budget is 20 million, and they want a house, but they want it in Kingston. But given the particular marketplace, $20 million now might get you a studio. So a realtor may ask you certain questions to say, okay, are you willing to compromise? Will you commute? If you commute not too far, you may be able to afford a house on land with space for you to add on, and you have yard space. So if you'll be willing to have some flexibility, even though you know what you want, be flexible. Especially in this market, it's very aggressive. It's a seller's market. You all know what's been happening. You have $50 million that you qualify for, but you still can't find a property, or it varies. It really varies. So have an idea of what you want and make your list. Then now you let your realtor know, and what your realtor does is create a list of properties that are available within your budget, and they will send this to you for you to look through. So especially in this pandemic where a lot of things are virtual, it's good for you to glance through. First of all, it pretty much, rather than scouring the websites on your own, the realtor will send you available properties.
Yes.
You look through, you pick your top 3, top 5, and then your realtor will arrange viewing so that you can look at these properties in person. We are in a pandemic again, so I'll highlight that. You should be open as well to virtual viewings.
Virtual viewing. Is the in thing now?
Yeah.
It's the in thing, yes, but also, you have persons who are overseas. A lot of persons are overseas who are buying property without even coming here. So persons who are overseas, and I'm sure many of them are joining now on the live and on Zoom, they're overseas and they are looking to buy property. It can be done. So you get in touch with a reputable realtor or a reputable brokerage, have someone who you trust. Oh, let me add as well, using a realtor, how do you find one? I didn't highlight that. Chances are someone you know is a realtor, or someone who you know knows someone who can refer you to a realtor. Or you can do a simple search for brokerages in Jamaica, make a call. Ensure that you're comfortable with the person because they're gonna be with you through the process. So find someone who is easy to talk to, who can give you good advice. So hopping back now, be open to virtual viewings. A lot of persons overseas, they see a property listed, they call the realtor does a video, sends it to them. When the property is available for viewing, the realtor will go, call them, walk through room by room, answer all the questions. They like it, they make a deposit, they make an offer, it's accepted, and then they go right through to closing. So it's not as strict as it used to be.
Yes.
The airways are opening up now, it's open, and it's easier to get the process done. All right, so realtor will send you properties, you're gonna look through, you're gonna secure 2 to 3 of your top list. I usually say narrow it down to your top 3. We look at those, and then we try to make an offer to see which one you can secure. All right, so when you're looking at your properties now, when you're looking through, make your list of what you want in the home. So separate from the type of property that you want, what are the key things that you want? Do you need a balcony, 2 balconies? Does it have to have a view? Do you have to be on the hill? Do you prefer to be by the ocean? Do you need beachfront, or will an ocean view suffice? Right. Do you need lots of land space? Would the apartment do fine? Stuff like that, the key things.
You want to live in a golden triangle?
If you want to, and then your budget will dictate
Right.
where you will be as well. So even though you have your list, be open to be flexible, given the various things that come into play. All right, so you're looking around now. Key thing many persons pay attention to in a property are the bathrooms and the kitchen. So once you're walking through a property and you're looking at a property, look for, do you like the kitchen and the bathroom? Because generally that's where most persons will renovate first.
Yes.
So pay attention to those areas. Do you like it? Will you have to do any kind of upgrades once you get into that property? Look at the space. Ask the questions, can my furniture fit here? If this is the living room that I'm in, can my furniture fit here? Because many times persons will love a property, and it's at the back end they go, but my couch kind of big, or but my table can't fit here. So these are things that you think about when you're walking through the process. Do you like the location of the property? Do you like how much space there is? If it's a gated community, do you like the common areas? Also remember maintenance. Look at the maintenance fees. That's also another fee that you have to bear in mind, along with your deposit closing costs. When you're paying your monthly mortgage, you also have to remember that you will have to be paying a maintenance every month for your property.
Correct.
And this is to help with the upkeep of the general premises. Everybody likes a nice, clean area, so you have to do your part to maintain that communal living.
Fair
So
enough.
bear these things in mind. Also, when you're looking at your home, as we are doing tips and tricks, when you walk into a space, examine the roof, the ceiling. Do you like the type of ceiling that is there? A lot of properties have that popcorn finish.
Right.
Do you like it? Will you have to scrape that, do the scraping when you get into the property? Think about that as well, and then add that to your expenditure if you're going to have to do that.
Okay.
And bear in mind that any kind of upgrades or renovation or changes, you do not have to do it all at once.
Yes.
Just look at the key things that need to be done for you to move in and be comfortable. And then after you get in there, take your time. Make the changes little by little by little. Make it comfortable so that you can move in. And then, After a while, you get back on your feet again, you get a grasp of the expenses, and then you just take your time and do these things. Also, Jamaicans love how things look on the outside. So many persons, they go into the house and they fix up the gate and raise the wall. Everything outside pretty, look nice, and then inside, it's not finished. Remember, you live on the inside.
Right.
So
Yes,
fix up the inside first. I mean, persons may drive past and sit outside, but they're not living there. You are living there. Make yourself comfortable.
Yes.
The most important thing is that you're comfortable on the inside. Outside will take care of itself after a while. Just take your time, get back on your feet, and move into the home. Renovate in your own time, and then enjoy your home. And your realtor will walk you through the process along with the other major players in the process. I don't remember if you mentioned it before. You need a valuator, a surveyor, a very good attorney, your realtor. We all work together to make the process smooth and easy for you.
And your banker.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Of course, your banker.
Thank you so much, Kim. Those are excellent tips. You're like the free cheerleader in the mortgage process. Yeah, I'm going to call it that, the free cheerleader. So, Chris, you went through the documents you're going to need, getting a pre-qual,
Yes.
being realistic. Now I want to dive into what are the fees and giving an idea. If it is that I'm renting now and I'm paying 100 or 150 monthly, what sort of mortgage do I think I can afford at this time? So let's just jump into that, Chris.
Okay. It's a tricky conversation because most persons tend to say, well, if I'm paying a rent for 150,000,
Yeah.
why pay a mortgage for 150,000? What's the benefit to be derived in doing so? Well, straight up, the benefit to be derived is the fact that you're paying for something that's yours.
Yes.
There's no landlord. There's nobody to ask you to move, and this is your spot.
Nobody can kick you out.
Nobody can. This is
Can I
your
add something
this
to
is
that,
your own.
Chris?
Yes.
I'll add to that. When you are renting, let's say you're asked to leave, chances of you getting the rental amount that you were paying before are very low. It's always going to go up.
Yes.
More likely to be paying more.
Yes.
Your mortgage over time goes down.
Yes.
Because either you earn more, you do better in life, you have another job, you change
Inflation.
jobs.
Yes.
So
Inflation, yes.
you're more, so it will go down in comparison. So that's a good reason as well.
Absolutely.
you.
So you have a rent of $150,000. A quick calculation could say that $150,000 rent could give you a mortgage of about $20 million. That's a monthly payment of approximately $114,000 to $120,000 per month.
Right.
So it would be a little less than your rent, but more importantly, this will be your own space. You are paying rent of $220,000. This perhaps can get your property for about $30 million. You're talking about maybe $175,000, $180,000 per month. What is the income that you're talking about? For a $30 million property, you perhaps need to be earning between $650,000 to $700,000 per month. For a mortgage of $20 million, you perhaps should be earning about $250,000 to $280,000. So the assessment is really dependent also on the customer's current financial position. And so we rely primarily on the assessment with the personal banking officers and the premium relationship officers to do this assessment and tell our customers what they can afford from what they can't afford, what you're supposed to be looking for, and how you should go about negotiating to get this property that you want to buy.
Okay. So the closing costs, Chris.
Yes.
We keep on mentioning closing costs,
Yes.
and I may assume, if I didn't know, it's just one flat thing.
Yes.
So dive into that for me now.
Well, the closing cost can be a sore point for a lot of persons because it comes up as a surprise. Scotiabank, we're saying, well, we want to have the conversation up front with our customers, up front to let you know what is it that you need to be having. And so initially I indicated that you need your down payment, and that is absolutely important. You need your legal fees, and we're saying within the market, 1.5% to 5%, depending on your attorney. That could be the cost of the mortgage that you're talking about. Application fees, this is the bank earned revenue from the process of the mortgage. The general market conditions dictate is 3.5%. I put in a caveat now to say I'm happy. Scotiabank is offering a special. We have a 50% discretion on this fee, and so the customers are paying 1.75%, and the customers are indeed taking advantage of this special that we have at this point in time. Sales agreement, perhaps 0.4 or 0.5% of the cost. This is a cost that is borne between you and the vendor, This is an agreement that you must have to make sure that this is legally binding. Registration and stamp duties are government-driven expenses. Stamp duty $5,000, registration 0.5% of the amount.
And those are shared as well.
These are shared expenses between you and the vendor, so it's not you all at once. The transfer tax, there's 2%, which is borne by the vendor. So just saying to my customers out there, make sure that your statement of account is indicating that this is a cost to the vendor and not to you. You're talking about house inspection too. Most persons who are selling a property tend to do a valuation report to ascertain the cost of the property to sell. This is not always the ideal way for you, the purchaser, to determine that this property values this amount, because the person who commissioned the valuation report is in their interest. You as the purchaser want to do your own independent assessment, and so make provision for a valuation report, even though the vendor has a valuation report, because you want to know by yourself, what does this property value? Surveyor's ID report is also important. You need to make sure that there's no encroachment, there's no breach, because once you purchase this and this is yours, the cost will be yours if there's an encroachment to correct this particular asset. And so it's a cost. Maybe 0.2 or 0.3% of the overall purchase, you may need to incur where this is concerned. Peril insurance. A lot of customers tend to negate the value of peril insurance. Peril insurance is absolutely critical. We live in a tropical country, and so hurricanes come from time to time. And it shouldn't be that you have lost your roof and you don't know how you're going to replace it. Not just because you're taking a mortgage in general, I'm saying. Once you own a home, you need to have peril insurance. And so I'm saying to our customers also that this is a cost that you need to factor into your closing costs. And finally, this expense persons tend to not worry too much about, because it's the final stage, the moving cost. You're going to be moving from point A to point B. There is a cost associated, and so if it is that you don't have that friend that can move you for free, you need to factor it into your budget, because it's a cost that you have to contemplate.
And for the evaluators, Chris, we have our own set of evaluators, right? Absolutely.
Scotiabank have a system in place that we ensure that the integrity of the report that is commissioned is of the highest quality. We have a vested interest in the properties that the customers purchase, because we'll be loaning you some monies. And so it is important that the property value assigned is true, it's consistent to market condition. And so we have a team and a pool of valuators who complete these reports, and we stand behind the values because they are proven and tested. So we say to our customers, don't commission the valuation report, we commission it on your behalf, but we're indicating to you upfront that the cost is yours.
So Chris, when you give me this list of closing costs and I look at it, is it that I can just say, oh, I don't want to pay legal fees, so I'm just going to be my own lawyer? So how important is a lawyer?
Lawyers are absolutely important, and I share with you a scenario where recently one of our customers acquired a property, and upon completion of the mortgage process, she could not get occupancy. And we're saying, but how is it that there's somebody in the property, you have gotten your mortgage, but you can't get your property? In reviewing the sales agreement, we know that the property did not indicate, the sales agreement did not indicate vacancy upon completion. This is critical, because it means therefore that the occupant can remain in it at their own leisure, and you will have a mortgage and you're living at your perhaps a rented place, and you can't get access to your place. What does your lawyer do? He or she reviews this sales agreement, because the sales agreement are prepared by the vendor's attorney or the carriage of sale attorney, not your attorney. And so they review it to make sure that the conditions are favorable for you, and they will come to you and say, oh, listen, Tracy, this is what this clause stipulates. Are you comfortable with this? If not, what do you want me to do for you? So they negotiate on your behalf. And for the persons who are making their very first purchase, who have absolutely no experience, it is absolutely critical that they secure the services of a lawyer. And so at Scotiabank, we encourage you to ensure that you have a lawyer. It will factor in your budget, but you cannot be, as my grandma would be saying, penny wise and pound foolish.
Yes, thank you so much, Chris. So, as you mentioned, we have a special on the fees. It's discounted. And now I'm going to move to share with you what our mortgage offering is.
Step into a place that looks like home with Scotiabank. With our simple mortgage process, we'll help you make your dream home your own. Ready to make your next move the best one yet? Start with Scotiabank today. Apply for a Scotiabank mortgage now and get 50% discount on bank processing fees, an interest rate of 6.99% plus money back of 3% up to US $6,000. Let's help you find a place that finally feels like yours. With Scotiabank, you'll be saying, now this looks like home.
It has been so exciting. It has been very informative. We are on our final stage of questioning, so please send in your questions on Zoom and IG. So Chris, Ian Pearson is asking us, what is an agreement of sale and who is responsible for preparing it?
The agreement of sale is the legal binding contract between you and the vendor that this person there will be clauses and conditions that stipulate whether or not the contract can be terminated, if you can forego the sale, or if it goes through. It's also a document that is also stamped, so it's a legal binding document. Whose responsibility it is? The vendor, the person who is selling the property. Both he or she and their attorney will determine the clause within the agreement and send it to your attorney. Your attorney will review, determine whether or not the conditions are favorable. If they are, then they will give you the go-ahead to sign. If they're not, then they'll return it and say, hey, my client have a challenge with this, you fix. Who pays for it is a shared cost between both the vendor and the purchaser. 50-50 split.
Thank you, Chris. Leonard H., what are some of the transaction fees a buyer is required to pay?
Well, as indicated before, you have the legal costs that you need to pay. You have the application fees, you have surveyor's ID report, you have valuation report that you need to pay, a portion of your stamp duty, a portion of the transfer tax, that's yours. Peril insurance you need to pay because you need to make sure that your property is current. But that should encompass the major expenses that you will incur once you are purchasing a home.
Okay. On Zoom, we have Jerome R. asking us, how do I get pre-qualified to buy an apartment?
Jerome, you get pre-qualified by entering or coming to any of the Scotiabank branches, contacting us digitally. We will be more than happy to assist you. Once you come in, you're asked to provide confirmation of your employment. We do a credit check and we'll determine on spot whether or not you're qualified, and if you are, what value mortgage you're pre-qualified for.
Okay, thank you. Kimari, our cheerleader, our free cheerleader, Audrey G is asking us, I'm just starting out in life. What should I aim to buy first, a home or a vehicle?
Well, all right, so Andre?
Yes.
Andre, thank you for that question. So it really is a personal choice what you want to start out with, depending on your age that you're starting out with. You know, have you been in school for the last 100 years? Are you just getting your first job at 30? Some persons like to have a car. Is your car critical to your career? That's important as well.
Absolutely.
So it's not just a straight, clear-cut answer. There are different things that will come into play.
Yeah.
So if a car is critical to your career path, then you need to get a car and then save towards your house. If it's not so critical, if you can actually commute, if you can stay with your parents until you get a home, then I would say go for the house. It's an investment opportunity. It's something that it doesn't have to be where you're gonna live forever, but it's just a start. So get that first property under your belt, and then you can branch off to get the Chris car, you know, the flossing car, all of those things. But it really depends on what you need at this point in time. If you have to have a vehicle, it doesn't have to be a brand new vehicle.
Yes.
It can be a vehicle that's clean, it looks nice, it can get you around, it won't break down on you, you can manage the highway without breaking down. These are different things that you can look at. But a home is an asset. The sooner that you can get out of the blocks with that, I would say head for that first.
Thank you. Chris, this question is for you. Janine J is asking, what is the process when financing through NHT and Scotiabank?
Janine, thanks for your question. At Scotiabank, we offer a one-stop shop. So once you come to Scotiabank for a mortgage and you indicate that you're eligible for an NHT benefit, what we do, we take care of it for you. Once you provide us with your NHT contribution letter from your employer, then we submit this to NHT, and NHT indicates to us how much you're eligible for and what interest rate you're entitled to, you will get your mortgage at Scotiabank for this very specific amount and this NHT benefit also, this interest rate as well.
Thank you, Chris. So Joyful Jody from IG, she's asking, how long does a mortgage application take to be approved?
I tell my customers, Joyful, do not come to Scotiabank unless you're serious about acquiring an asset. Within 3 to 5 days, we'll have you approved for this facility and ready to take it to the next step.
That's
and the
excellent.
next step would be doing the assessment of the property, your valuation report, your surveyor's ID report, and all that have you. But within 3 to 5 days, once you've provided us with what we have asked for, we can give you a conditional approval.
Wow.
Wow. That's
Matt,
impressive.
Yes.
yeah. Matt from Instagram, does age affect how much you are able to, how much you are able
To access.
and the amount of money to pay for mortgage?
It does to a degree because the term that you get is dependent on how old you are.
Right.
And so your age will determine the tenure or the length of time that you can get a mortgage. So it is a factor. And so we encourage our customers to acquire these assets earlier in their life stage. Don't wait until you're in the latter stages of your life to make an application for a mortgage, given the fact that it will influence the term.
Island Princess from Instagram is asking, there are several institutions I can get my mortgage from. Why should I choose Scotiabank?
We have been an expert, Island Princess, in the market for a very long time. We have history within this. Scotiabank have been around for a very long time. Our process, as I indicated before, is completed within, the approval can be given to you within 3 to 5 days. We offer one-stop shop with NHT. Not all institutions offer this. And we have experts within our branch who offers expert advice. And so it could be that you're there to buy an apartment, but you end up buying a townhouse based on the conversation that you're having. It could be that you thought that your budget was 10 million, but it is now 15, or vice versa. We have experts throughout the system. And so choose Scotiabank because we have been around.
So, thank you, Chris. This question is for you, Kim. Maddie AJ Mummy from Instagram is asking, what should I consider when I'm looking for a good property or home?
Okay, thank you, Mandy. What should you consider when looking for a good property or home? Well, it really is a personal decision. So you need to know what your lifestyle is like, depending on where you work. Do you have children? Where do they go to school? Are you willing to commute? If you live in Kingston, can your budget afford a house in Kingston? Or is it something that you're willing to, commute a little bit? Maybe you can go to St. Catherine, Old Harbour, somewhere closer. There's also St. Thomas. Different things will affect what you're looking for. So it's a personal decision. Growing up, what are the things that you like? When you look around, what are the things that kind of pique your interest? What do you want in a home? Are you able to climb stairs? If you know that stairs are not something that you can manage, then you strike off townhouse off your list. Or you invest in a townhouse that has a downstairs room. So these are things that you really have to think through and see what are the things that are key to you, are key to the person who will be living with you in the same space, and what would work for you. So it really is a personal choice, the things that are important to you. Some persons have to have a balcony. They prefer an open concept.
Right.
They want to walk into a living room and see the kitchen. Some persons want their kitchen tucked away to the side in a separate room. So think about it. What are the key things that will make your life easier, make your flow of living easier? Write those things down, and then you look for those things.
Okay. Thank you, Kim. Fiona is asking you, Fiona Smith on Zoom is asking, how can I identify a reputable, knowledgeable realtor?
Okay, so as I had said before, Fiona, thank you for that question.
Choose you, right?
That's the easy answer,
Yes.
choose me.
Here.
But I'm advocating for all my realtors in the industry. So you may have a friend, a close friend who is in the field, someone who you already trust. You can use them. If you do not know somebody within your circle, you can ask somebody, and more than likely they know a realtor that they can refer. The best person is somebody that is referred. If somebody refers somebody to you, it means that they have either worked with them before, or they know them and they trust their work ethic, and they can refer them. And then if you've exhausted all those channels and nobody in your immediate circle is a realtor and nobody who you know knows a realtor, then you can check for top agencies that are reputable in the industry and have a good name and call the office, and then they will put you onto a good realtor.
Okay.
And then, let's say you start working with somebody, but you're not happy with the service, you're free to switch.
Oh.
But starting off, I usually say work with one person. And then that one person is working hard for you,
Yes.
trying to get you the deals working for you. So work with one person first. But if you're not getting the response that you want and you've had a conversation
Yes,
and you've said, hey, you know, I haven't heard from you, what's happening? Because the reality is that different things can happen
Yes.
that can cause issues. Maybe what you're asking for, nothing has popped up. And so that's why you haven't heard from them, because they said, you know, when something comes up, I'll let you know.
Yes.
Yes.
Right? So maybe there's something happening. So have a conversation first. Talk to them. And then if at the end of all of that, you realize that maybe this is not the realtor for me, feel free to try somebody else.
Oh, okay. This question is for you again, Kim. Russell from Instagram is asking. He's saying market prices in Kingston are high.
Tell me about
Do you anticipate that this trend will continue, or is there a dip on the horizon?
I have been getting that question, Russell, for ages and ages. Persons have been waiting for this decline. But what I say, the good thing in Jamaica, I can guarantee you that your property will gain. You can't lose.
Yeah.
It will appreciate. So even in the pandemic, when stocks were crashing, failing and falling, real estate was appreciating. So I really don't see it going down on the horizon, especially right now. We have a lot of injection from international investors they've been overseas and they realize that they want to own a piece of the rock now.
Yeah.
You know, especially in the pandemic, they don't really want to come back and be staying somewhere that they're not sure about. They're investing now to own their own piece. They can come, clean it, sanitize it, and know exactly what they're getting. So they're purchasing. And these are the things that really are making the prices either stay high or go up. So if you are interested in property, no. That deal that you're looking for is no. Because tomorrow, because properties appreciate, if it's for 15 today, by tomorrow it will appreciate, and it will probably be 16, 17.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in buying property, now is the time to jump on it.
Well, Tracy, interestingly, from a financial perspective, BOJ recently added their voice to the conversation to say that there is no bubble, so to speak, and the prices and the values are genuine and bona fide values. So from an expert perspective, we rely on BOJ for this too, and they're saying that these are good values.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And can I also add,
Of course.
what really determines the value of a property is what somebody's willing to pay for it.
Yes.
So let's say you look at it and you say, this is $10 million. You know, I'm not buy that for $10 million.
Right.
Right? But somebody else will come along and go, 10 million? I've been looking for a house for 4 years. I'm frustrated. I have the 10 and they will buy it for 11 because they want a property. So it really depends on who's out there, what finances they have access to, and who's willing to purchase at the price.
Yes. And I would say as well is, what is your priority? Because with the toll, traveling to Kingston isn't so bad
It's
sometimes
not.
as
It's
well.
not.
So, okay, I want a property, I want a house, and this is what I want it to look like, but it's located in Portmore. It's not necessarily all that bad. So we're going to another question from Fly Sophie on Instagram. Chris, I think this question is for you.
Right.
Are you willing to approve mortgages strictly for Airbnb investment, or do I have to occupy the home?
Fly Sophie, thanks for your question. We offer assistance to purchase owner-occupied property and also for investments. So we do both. We understand that customers will go through different life stages, and so one customer will be at the stage that they want to purchase their own home, and another will be at the stage where they want to offer a second or a third property. So yes, we do finance property for investment purposes.
Okay. I have another question for you, Chris. Kim H. on Zoom is asking, what is meant by building equity in your home? That's a good question.
Good question.
This is an excellent question, and a question, if you think about the answer, everybody would aspire to owning their own home. So in 2010, you would have purchased a property for $10 million. In 2021, once you maintain this property
Right.
and the location continues to be a satisfying location for living, this property now values $19 or $20 million. This is equity of $10 million that you would have accrued in your property, coupled with the fact that you'd have paid down your mortgage. Now, this equity that you have in your property can do a myriad of different things. You have your children who needs to go to med school. This equity can be used to get a mortgage to send this child to med school. You have a medical emergency. This equity can be used to assist with that. You have your business and you want to inject capital in your business. This equity can also help you. So this equity in your property is what you acquire and you get over a period of time once you purchase and you systematically service your debt and appreciation in the market, in the mortgage market. This is what happens.
Nice. So we are coming to an end, so we're going to take our final question, and it's from Zoom, from Patrick M. And he's asking, why should I buy a home instead of renting?
Well, for the same reason I just answered, Patrick. You want to have this equity. You want to have that place that you call home. This is mine. I'm not leaving. Especially if you have a family or if you're thinking about starting a family, you want this place to be your center. No matter where I go, this is where I'm going to come back. And no landlord will ask me to leave. Realtors tend to help persons to find places to rent. Certainly you don't want to be calling Kim to find a place for rental. You want to be calling Kim for a place to be purchased.
Or if you want to sell your home too.
Or, or if you want to be selling, as Kim indicated.
And can I just add to that? I think the perfect phrase is peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
It's peace of mind. So you're in your own space, you're in your own home. No one can ask you to leave.
Yes.
And as we highlighted before, your payments wouldn't necessarily go down, but you'll be able to afford it more and more as time passes by. The mortgage becomes more affordable, but then the rent more than likely would always increase. So if you're renting somewhere for the last 15 years, and for whatever reason, you're asked to leave or you have to leave, and you're looking for somewhere else to rent now,
Absolutely.
It's not going to be at the same figure that you were renting for.
The
10,
new rent
15 years
will be
ago.
higher.
It's going to be higher.
It will be higher.
But it's
Absolutely.
just that peace of mind that I am here, it's mine. Even if my mortgage is due this month and I paid it, but I can't cut the grass, it's your house, You can go out there and cut it if you want to, or you can sit down and enjoy it. You can paint it whatever color you want to. You can drill the holes and put up all your family pictures on the wall. You can hang your memories.
That picture at that place that you're not worried that your landlord is going to be saying to you, why did you put a hole there?
Yes.
This is, you're personalizing your space.
Yes, personalized
And you're free to do as you please because this is your spot. And that's why you want to be purchasing as opposed to be renting.
So we have to wrap up, unfortunately.
Already?
The time finished so quickly.
Oh, wow.
So I'm hoping that everybody's now ready to move from rent to mortgage. So let us just recap. You need to save for your down payment. And one way of also saving for that down payment, feel free to tell your family and friends that you're saving for a down payment. So all the birthday presents, it should be funny. So they just transfer their funds from their account into yours at Scotiabank, right?
Absolutely.
Know your credit worthiness. Manage your debt structure. Get pre-qualified. Come into Scotiabank, spend an hour with us or less, and know that, okay, I qualified for 10 million, 20 million, not necessarily getting the property for 10 or the 20 million though. Engage your professionals, engage your cheerleader realtors, engage your lawyers, engage those persons who have been there, done that, and know it very, very well.
Yes.
And remember the closing cost. Take advantage of any local improvement facilities and enjoy your new home. I'd like to thank Kim for joining us from Coldwell Banker Jamaica Realty, Chris from our flagship branch at Scotiabank Center.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you to our viewers on Zoom and IG. You can still continue to send your questions in to us and we will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Have a wonderful evening and please stay safe and sanitize. Thank you.
Wonderful.